6:38. Hello fellow YouTubers. Today is Friday, September 21. Yeah, I got it right. Well, as you can see in the background here, I got my collectibles in there, and it looks pretty good, don't you think? Hey, I think it looks pretty good. Yeah. And I got my son came over last night, and he was able to set up the what's the little thing here? The Fitbit Versa. Oh, good grief. Anyhow, yes, I'm not into information and technology and all this stuff. I wouldn't have been able to do it without him. I wouldn't have been able to do it. It was so involved, and you know, Apple, they're way too into their security systems. I know it's for the benefit of owners and users, but it really aggravates me to the nth degree when you have a password and they don't accept it. And also, when you get in, if you change your password and they ask a question that you know the answer to and they tell you it's wrong. I'm sure some of you have been there and done that. Why is this? I'm sick of that too. So anyhow, if you get something like one of these, a Fitbit, and you're not savvy when it comes to IT technology, you know, you just get by like I do, and you don't know anyone who is IT savvy, don't buy them, because they will drive you nuts trying to set them up. There are some good videos on YouTube that show the initial setup, so get onto YouTube if you decide, because to do it yourself it's just going to drive you bananas. Fair dinkum, just drive you bananas. Oh dear. Anyhow, we've had a bit of a busy day today. Now what did we do? Oh, that's right, we went out to Bunnings. Yeah, went out to Bunnings because my wife's after one of these quick grips, you know, thingy. We found two out there. One was the same as I've got, and another, and it was only a cheapie. It's good enough for what I use for picking up the dog doo-doo and doggy doo. And the other one was a longer one, and it was $35 or something. But she didn't get it. We did find one at the chemist, but she didn't ask what the price was. Go figure, right? Yeah, and then we went into town. I went up to, we both went up to Kmart. And that's where that white cabinet came from. It's a flat pack. Very handy. $15. $15. That's all I wanted. And sure, I could have made a cabinet like that. I got plenty of timber around here, but it would have taken me quite a while to make that thing up. $15 you can't lose. And my wife bought a chair because she'd, out of Bunnings, she'd bought a little table. Her idea is to put this little table down near the second pond in the backyard, near the log that's there, but I don't know how she's going to do that because there's no room. And you also got a chair as well. There's a chair in there, and a bear as well. Open! A play school. That's from play school. Well, and then we went to I had to go and get some scripts. Now, about prednisone, it's not doing me any good whatsoever. I'm taking two 25 milligram tablets at 50 milligrams a day, and it's not doing me any good whatsoever. Not making my breathing any better. One iota, in fact, I think it's making it worse. And I did some research about prednisone, and a severe side effect is that it's harmful to your breathing. Now, here's something that's supposed to make breathing easier, but it's not working. It's making my breathing worse, I'm sure of that. However, I will keep taking them until I see my doctor on Monday. Yeah, I've got another appointment with him on Monday. And yeah, but that the way it is with me. I got a script for some Valium not too long ago, and they virtually did nothing for me at all, where other people swear by them. And it's the same with anti-nausea medication. It doesn't work on me at all. I had some anti-nausea medication because I had terrible nausea with this gut problem, and it didn't do anything. Not a thing at all. You wonder why a bloke gets pissed off. Anyhow. But, yes. So anyhow, I suppose I could do a little bit more of a read. But you know what? I'll tell you something else that's pissing me off. I got up to 690 subscribers, and in the last few days I'm back down to 687. I hate losing subscribers, and I don't know why you lose subscribers. You get see these other people who've got hundreds of thousands of subscribers. They don't lose subscribers. They don't lose anything at all. They just keep going up, 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 up. Hey, I tell you what, it really angers me. But I know there's nothing I can do about it, but I'm just letting you know it really angers me. I think I should have 687,000 subscribers. What's wrong with people out there? Good grief. I've seen a lot of YouTube channels and they've absolutely paled into insignificance compared to my channel, and yet they've got hundreds of thousands of subscribers. I can't figure it out. Anyhow, that's enough of my ranting. I'll give you a little reading from just another day, because I have a subscriber who is keen to listen to the story because he finds it funny, and I'm very glad that he does. So I'm going to keep reading for his benefit only, because no one else has really commented except for Stephen. I don't know, people think maybe it's a bit rude, I don't know. But I think it's funny as well as being serious, as you will find out as I continue on. It was 9:32 when Jeremy opened his eyes again on this morning of just another day. He still had an ache above his left eye, and for the life of me he didn't know what day of the week it was. This wasn't the first time he'd experienced such an anomaly, and he wondered if he might be suffering from the early signs of dementia. Why, only a few nights previous he had woken in the dead of night and found himself totally disorientated with what was otherwise familiar surroundings. He had no idea what had prompted him to awake so abruptly. But as he lay there under the covers, it was as if he were in an alternate reality. That's happened to me. Now, this is why this stuff is... Everything I've suffered from is in this book, this novella. But as he lay there under the covers, it was as if he were in an alternate reality. A bizarre room where everything about him was in reverse. For 30 seconds, maybe a minute, it seemed to Jeremy that the head of the bed was now the foot of the bed. And to his left, which under normal circumstances would have been to his right, the bedroom doorway was where the windows should be, and the windows the doorway. At first Jeremy had thought he wasn't awake, that what he was experiencing was one of those weird now and again dreams that seemed so real that when you do wake, you are hard-pressed initially to convince yourself that it wasn't. Then he'd been forgetful of late too. Oh, yeah, well, that's... Putting something down with every intention of picking it up, only to forget about it and then not being able to remember where he put it in the first place after he realised it was missing. The quarter's phone was a prime example. He had a habit of taking the phone into the toilet when he had to sit. After all, doesn't the phone always ring when you're on the toilet or in the shower? At least that's the way it seemed to Jeremy. Most of the time he would remember to take it with him when he was finished. But occasionally it would totally slip his mind that it was there. And when, sometime later, noticing the vacant cradle, he couldn't remember where the hell it was, and had to resort to using the beeper to relocate it. But that wasn't the end of it. No, no. For it was, Jeremy could put it down to being just one of those things that could happen to anyone. Like it was with sometimes forgetting where you left the car keys, or your wallet, or even your sunglasses that were perched on the top of your head. I've forgotten. Where am I? Can't find it. No, it was the other things that Jeremy was a little concerned about and didn't think were normal. Walking to the toilet or the bathroom day or night and turning on the light then walking out and sometimes leaving it on. Having thoughts pop into his mind about doing particular things only to have them pop out again the instant he thought about them. And not being able to remember what they were. Reading a simple sentence in a book and not being able to make sense of what he was reading until he read the same sentence 2 or 3 times. Skipping words that were there and were as plain as the nose on his face, which was probably part of the reason the sentence didn't make sense. And not writing a particular word in a sentence when that word was there in his mind and he had every intention of writing it down. But the instant he proceeded to do so, it just suddenly disappeared. And he would write the very next word that was intended to succeed it. No wonder what he had written at times didn't make sense. Even when he filled in the gap or gaps, it still didn't make sense sometimes, because he was damn sure the word or words he'd written weren't the right ones. It'd be a genetic thing for sure, Jeremy thought, as he lay watching the red, second-hand sweep its unfaltering clockwise tour of duty. His father was now in a nursing home, totally oblivious to any or all who visited him. But then his mother, who, like his father, was in her mid-70s, was still very much hale-hearty and bright as a button. But he was the firstborn and the only male, so there was every possibility that he and he alone would be prone to the disease. That sort of thing happens all the time, like it is with breast cancer sometimes. But of course it would be that way, for there was no doubt whatsoever in Jeremy's mind that far more bad things had happened to him during his life than they did to his 2 sisters combined. In fact, they had both lived charmed lives by comparison. Jeremy wouldn't have it any other way, of course, and he hoped that it would always continue to be that way. But why, he often wondered. Did he always end up being the fall guy? Jeremy had a theory about that. Reckoned it all had to do with being the firstborn and inheriting the weak gene pool, and making him the guinea pig, and the one his parents could practice on until they got everything down pat and wouldn't make the same mistakes with his siblings. And because he was genetically handicapped, he went about doing all the silly and just plain stupid things that set an example for his sisters of what not to do and saved them from experiencing all the bad things that happened to him. And neither of his sisters had been in hospital except for the birth of their children, where Jeremy had had his tonsils, appendix and his wisdom teeth removed. He had always experienced those nasty leg cramps, was prone to colds, hay fever and the flu, was allergic to eggs, which is why he couldn't be inoculated against influenza. Cultured on eggs the vaccine was, wasn't it? But of course it would be. And since his late teens he'd always had problems with his teeth, as it had been with hemorrhoids until recently. Had lost much of the hearing in his right ear. His eyesight was failing, as was his capacity to urinate. And now, to top it all off, he was losing his mind. Still, just like it is with the popping frog, Jeremy knew there wasn't a goddamn thing he could do about it. And there was no point lying in bed running those thoughts through his head. And now that he was well and truly awake, Lying in bed was no longer an option. So Jeremy got up. He dressed, made his way from the bedroom, across the hallway into the toilet, but he didn't switch on the light. And surprisingly, considering what had happened earlier on this morning of just another day, urinated a strong, steady flow without hesitation and free of interruption. He shook, tucked away, straightened the right leg of his shorts, lowered the seat and lid, but with the water restrictions of the past 6 years and the need to save the precious resource, the council had encouraged the population to let it mellow if it was yellow and only flush it down if it was brown. So Jeremy didn't flush. From the toilet to the bathroom, where Jeremy turned on the cold water tap over the basin, washed his hands and lowered his head and splashed his face, shaking his hands free of what liquid would seed to the agitation. He then ran the damp palms across his short-cropped hair, looking at the reflection in the mirror, looking right back at him as he did so, and not liking what he saw, which wasn't unusual, for he never liked the way he looked in the morning, any morning of just another day. But of course. Ah, dear. Oh, that's it. I hope you have a good weekend. Take care. I want to thank you for watching. And until next time, bye for now. Now, let me know what you think about the unit there. Hey? Look, doesn't look too bad, does it? I think it looks good, but anyhow, that's me. And I'm biased.